Good day, Community Hub. Here I am again, Crypto with day 17 of the May the Blockchain Be With You challenge. Today we have as an assignment research one altcoin in the top 50 that you haven't looked into yet. Share in group. Okay, yesterday we had the assignment to check out resources that CoinGecko has. So let's use CoinGecko as a starting point. I was looking at the list for the top 50. I actually wanted to do something about Wank Chain or something like that, but they are not in the top 50. So I decided to take a look at Hedera Hashgraph. Why? Well, I don't know much about it. I do think I can remember that they had kind of a cooperation with Google. We'll have to find out if that's true. But seems interesting. I don't know much about it. So when you look at, for example, in this case, Hedera Hashgraph, you see that HBAR is the ticker that's called, so the abbreviation of Hedera Hashgraph. Here you see the price, so it's $3.6. You also see the total market cap and some information. When you do research on a coin, you might ask yourself, what do I want to do with the coin? Do I want to trade in the coin, or do I want to hold it? More like a kind of long-term investment, because your research might be different depending on what you want to do with it. If you want to trade in a coin, volume is important, volatility is important, perhaps how big the Twitter community is important. If you want to hold on to a coin for the long term, you might want to also look at other stuff, because then you're going to be holding the coins longer. So let's click on Hedera Hashgraph and see what we get for information. Let me make the browser full screen so you get to see more. So here you see a link to the website, to the white paper, Medium articles. Notice this part also. What I find interesting is to see how many Hedera hashgraphs will be around in the end. Well, it's quite a big number, 50 with 9 zeros. Currently there are 4. I don't know how to say this in English because that's different with in Dutch. I think in Dutch we would say 50 miljard, but trillion I think it is, but let's say a lot. Let's notice that it's not like 21 million like with Bitcoin, but way more. And there are now 4 of the 50 in circulation. So one question might be, one thing to look for in the white paper is, how do they come into circulation, for example. Okay, here you can find more information about the price. Is it volatile? Well, it is moving. This is only the last day. Let me set it, for example, on a longer time frame. So the last 180 days it has been moving around. So if you want to trade on it, you can, I think. Although the volume is quite low. So I don't know if there's a lot of trading to be done. So this is information for traders. If you want to know what a coin is about, there's also always the option to look at Google. So I did that. I googled on YouTube what is Hedera Hashgraph, and I found this movie. That I'm not gonna look the whole movie with you, but watch the movie, but just a part.
Hi everyone, this is Desiree with Crypto Ramble, and I'm here with Simi Hunjan from Hedera Hashgraph, and we are at Consensus 2018, and I invited her here to talk to me about Hedera Hashgraph. So first of all, I would like for her to introduce herself to you guys.
My name's Simi Hunjan, and I am a developer advocate for Hedera Hashgraph.
Okay, and what exactly is Hedera Hashgraph?
Hedera Hashgraph is a public network that offers 3 services on top of our consensus algorithm, which is a file store, cryptocurrency, and smart contracts.
File storage, cryptocurrency, and smart contracts. Okay. from what I understand, Hedera Hashgraph is built on Hashgraph. And could you kind of explain that? Because this is a new technology for a lot of people who only think about, say, Bitcoin on top of a blockchain, or that uses proof of work mining, or Ethereum that's now moving to proof of stake mining. Could you explain how Hashgraph works? Because it's a bit different.
Yeah, so Hashgraph, the way that it works is through virtual voting and the Gossip protocol. So when it comes to calculating the votes for consensus within a network, a node just needs to refer to its own copy of the hash graph. So it's actually not calculating or sending messages through the network to calculate each member's vote for consensus.
Okay, and it doesn't involve any mining, like hashing, any work.
There's no mining involved. So there's so with proof of work, you have miners involved and high computational costs and all of that. Here, there's no miners. You don't need a mining rig or anything like that to be a part of consensus.
So I was a little bit confused when you were talking about a graph, because I'm thinking of an XY axis. Could you explain exactly how consensus is reached between the nodes?
Yeah, or you mean how like a hash graph is built?
Yes.
Yes. So a hash graph is basically, if you can imagine 5 vertical lines representing 5 different nodes in a network. Each time two of the nodes sync with one another to update each other on the information they don't have, they create an event. An event is a circle on the hash graph, and the event stores 2 hashes, transactions, and timestamp plus the digital signature of the creator.
Okay.
And so as the hash graph is going upwards, it records every sync that happens between every 2 nodes across the network.
Okay.
And so that's what the hash graph is.
Okay.
So let me take it from here. She was explaining what a hash graph is. This is what it looks like in the picture. I can imagine that it's quite difficult to understand if you're new at this kind of stuff. Perhaps zoom out. Let's zoom out a little bit. Zoom out. Begin with some terminology. There is the distributed ledger technology, and distributed ledgers are a kind of ledgers that are distributed, and the name says it all. And the blockchain is a certain version of a distributed ledger. In the way that it's open, it uses blocks that are time-stamped and are connected to each other. A hash graph is another point of view, another technical solution, that you can also have a distributed ledger, but it's not a blockchain. So that's good to know, I think. There's also, for example, a coin like IOTA, that's also a graph, so that also works differently. But as a cryptocurrency, they do also run on a distributed ledger. So they are on the same list as coins that are on a blockchain. So that's a good to know that they're different things. What they were also talking about is that while the Bitcoin blockchain uses proof of work as consensus mechanism, they don't use proof of work. They use the gossip protocol. Well, that sounds cool, the gossip protocol. But looking at for example, energy expenses, proof of work takes a lot of energy. In data centers, there are a lot of miners running, using energy to do the proof of work. Hedera does not use that, so that's for the environment. It's way better what Hedera does, but you have to ask: is it also safe? We don't know that from what we've just seen, but that's a difference between the two. Let's go back to this. Of course, there's more to this video, and when you Google it, you will find more stuff on YouTube. Let's get back here. And also, a good thing to do when you're doing research is click the white paper. Let me make the screen big again. Hedera Hashgraph Papers, a public hashgraph network and governing council. Here they describe a bit. In our opinion, there are 5 fundamental obstacles to overcome before distributed ledgers can be widely adopted: performance, security, governance, Okay, you can click here to read the white paper. Here you can also read a bit about it. Let me read this first sentence. Atomic broadcast protocols are increasingly used to build distributed ledgers. The most robust protocols achieve Byzantine fault tolerance, BFT, and operate in asynchronous networks. Recent proposals such as Honey Badger BFT and Beat achieve optimal communication complexity, growing linearly as a function of the number of nodes present. So now we know it all. We know exactly how Hashgraph works, and well, the only question left to ask is when moon. Now, this is a very technical piece of text about what they do. I did want to read it to you just because I need to practice my English. Now, I wanted to take this term because it's good to learn what this is about. Then I will go back to this site, CoinGecko. Yesterday I showed you that there is also a I'm on the Dutch side, I see, but there's a glossary. That's in English. Let me change the site to English. I don't know if it works like this. Yeah, it works. Glossary, and look up with the B. The B that starts with a bag holder. Well, and we don't want to be a bag holder, so let's not look at what that is. Byzantine fault. A Byzantine fault is where an error has occurred, yet a computer system does not know due which component what failed to the lack of information and continues to iterate on a given instruction. Still quite difficult. Byzantine generals problem, that's where I wanted to go. A term used to describe a situation, a single strategy which requires consensus from all members within a group who cannot be trusted or verified. Well, my English isn't that good, but I think some words are missing in this sentence. Let me try and explain this. The Byzantine general problem, why general? Well, it comes from a metaphor with strategies used in war. When a general would give his lieutenants or whatever is beneath him in rank orders, so parts of his military give him orders and they would execute them. And what if they would lose contact and they cannot have contact amongst themselves? Then one would do this, making assumptions, the other would do this, making assumptions, but what if they failed somewhere? This is to translate it to the blockchain scene or the distributed ledger scene. You have multiple nodes. One node thinks, okay, so Pete did a transaction with Belal, and Belal did a transaction with Janos. Okay, that's what one node thinks. Another node thinks that they made other transactions. What is the truth? Well, that's what consensus is about, the consensus mechanism. So let me turn back to Hedera. They have a different view on how to solve the Byzantine general's problem in the consensus mechanism. So that's good to know. I hope you understand this a bit. Look it up. Well, let's do a bit of a summary what the two women were talking about. Hedera does not have miners, no proof of work. They have another consensus protocol, the gossip protocol. Hedera can be used as a file store for a cryptocurrency and for smart contracts, and they use voting, the voting mechanism. So we've learned a bit about Hedera. Of course, do your own research. There's much more to learn about this coin. If you want to, for example, hold it for long term, invest in it. Use resources like CoinGecko. Go to a forum and check out what they are talking about. Look at the Reddit. The people are always quite critical on Reddit, so you can learn a lot there. Well, this was my contribution for this day. It's already almost 15 minutes, so I hope you all watch to the end. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.